Halfway to 30, this is number 15, Flixwatcher podcast. I'm Helen.
And I'm Kobi. On this episode of Flixwatcher, we're welcoming Rachel and Simon from Level Up Human, a podcast all about taking the next step in human evolution. And we're talking about Sharknado. Can they happen? Are they real? Do they exist? We're not talking about the real thing, we're just talking about the film. So, hope you enjoy it.
Come find us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod. Visit the website flixwatcher.tv for full listings, and don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us an awesome review. As always, films reviewed in this podcast were available to stream on Netflix UK at the time of recording. There may be bad language and there may be spoilers. You have been warned. Welcome to this edition of Flixwatcher, and today we are joined by Rachel and Simon from Level Up Human. If you want to say hello and tell us a bit about your podcast.
Hello, I'm Rachel Wheely. I'm the producer of Level Up Human and also a comedian. And am I telling you about the podcast?
Yes.
Right. So the podcast is a panel show about what humans should evolve next. And we get experts to come on and tell us what they think we should evolve next. And we get a comedian on to represent humanity and choose what we should evolve next. And if the experts don't come up with anything interesting enough, we ask the audience. And then Simon puts forward something from nature to potentially steal attributes from.
Oh, it kind of works, doesn't it? Because if we haven't evolved anything massively useful for a little long time.
Nothing.
And I always think, we're not really fit for purpose. We might not even fit for my purpose. So I'd rather change things.
Loads of stuff about us doesn't work and we need it upgraded immediately.
Is there a favourite appendage?
Upgrade or something.
Upgrade, yeah, that's probably the best word that you think we should have.
Do you know my favourite so far is when we did the Science Museum with Daniel Ward and that crew, the one that won that time, because only one motion can go forward each time, was ear lids. And it was good fun because for a start we were able to then discuss who would you use your ear lids on, because if you don't like somebody you can close your eyes, but if you still have to listen to them, don't you? So if you could switch off your hearing, who would you use it on? But also, of course, the thing is, proof of concept, it exists in nature. If you look at bats, they've got a kind of equivalent, because they deafen themselves by squeaking otherwise. That was one of my favourites. What's your favourite?
I'm quite a fan of evolving sticky hands like geckos so we can climb up walls.
Nice.
Yep.
Do you know how the gecko's sticky hands work?
Is it tiny hairs?
Yeah, so tiny hairs upon hairs, which go down to... Do you know what Van der Waals forces are?
No.
So it's because they're so...
This is why I'm the scientist in this team. But
I don't know anything.
Do you know this, Simon?
well, yeah, because I love geckos. And
Yeah.
they're amazing things.
Yeah.
They've been doing research. What was it? In Russia a couple of years ago, they sent some geckos into space to see if they could have sex. Using those incredible stick-on abilities. They burnt up in re-entry, as if it wasn't hot enough of what they were doing. I didn't know
the end of that.
What, does that need
I
spoilers?
apologise now.
Do you think they were just going to be floating around in orbit?
I thought they were still there with a colony of geckos. I thought it was all fine. But no, apparently on the podcast when we mentioned this before, Simon omitted to mention the fact that they were now, dead.
Did you think eventually mankind was going to wipe us all out and then geckos would return and conquer the Earth?
I will admit that I hadn't thought it fully through.
That actually ties us quite nicely into this film, jumping towards the end where there's sharks in space that don't burn up on entry.
Oh yeah, and in fact just free fall through the
atmosphere.
Thank you.
Sky. through the sky.
Through everything, and only get obliterated when they hit the beach. That's the only thing that kills them. Other than that, they were doing fine.
Should you explain what this movie is, though, actually?
We probably, before people get a bit confused. So, Rachel, would you like to introduce the film and
Yes, okay.
give us a brief synopsis?
Right, so this is Sharknado 3, Oh Hell No, which I chose on a whim on the basis that I wasn't allowed my first choice of film. And no, not on a whim. I was actually looking through Netflix and I saw the Sharknado franchise and I thought, that looks absolutely insane.
And it was.
And I decided that Sharknado 3 was more interesting than the first two. I still haven't seen the first two.
No, neither
To
have
give
I.
you a brief synopsis of it, basically there are these extreme weather events in America, which is where this is shot, where sharks are sucked up from the sea into tornadoes and are then thrown around and can kill people, and do kill people in enormous numbers. Simon was very excited because there were interesting sharks in the tornadoes.
That was a surprise, actually. Yeah.
And he was happy about the zoologically accurate content of the film.
That's going a little bit far,
I
in terms of raining deadly sharks.
I was just very happy that they committed to the concept so hard, because they do this. So they have the sharks and the tornadoes, but then in this particular film, because they've clearly exhausted all the possibilities of that in the first two, they have not only a wall of tornadoes, but then, for reasons I can't now exactly remember, the sharks end up being sucked into space and they attack a spaceship, which David Hasselhoff is in, obviously, and
It's very memorable, as you can tell.
They eat one of the main protagonist characters. They then fall back to Earth, and I don't know how many spoilers. I mean, this is going to really spoil it.
We'll go into this in this episode, so
yeah.
we can.
This maybe isn't the best, most concise synopsis possible, but anyway, in the end, something absolutely extraordinary happens.
Hold on, in the end, something.
At the end, and I just don't want to give it away. I want people to see the ridiculousness of the end of this film.
Just tell us what the end was. You might as well.
Okay, so eventually the main character's baby is born through the wall of the shark. I don't know what happens to the mother at this precise moment, like how the baby is born, but then she follows the baby out of the shark and the baby is fine. And it's amazing.
Simon, this, I mean, as Rachel's described it, this is a preposterous film. How much, as a biological scientist,
okay,
I think that's your official title, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it's the letters that are after my name.
Yeah. How accurate, if at all, is this film?
Oh, not at all.
Not
but
at all.
This is the thing. I was utterly prepared to hate this. Actually, on two grounds. On both this is just a general bad movie grounds,
yeah,
but also on the zoology one, because sharks get so much bad press, and I'm sick to death of sharks being the demon
for films.
Yeah, like, Jaws has got an awful lot to answer for. There's a lot of dead sharks because of Jaws and places where we put up shark nets. So I was prepared to hate this. And I genuinely loved it.
Oh.
Like that was the thing. I was so shocked because it had the middle shouldn't be there. Like there's the preposterous
arguably
nature
the beginning
of the
shouldn't be there either.
Oh no, but the beginning is so stupid, and you're not used to being hit in the face by such a solid wall of stupidity at that point that you're swept along with it.
So it's either at that point you're with it or you're without it.
And I'm a fan of some bad movies. Like I've watched Plan 9 from Outer Space, and I have watched The Evil Deads, the original one, or The Army of Darkness, which is, it knows it's stupid and it goes for it. You could look at this thing and you can tell the people who are making it were having such absolute fun and loving every second of it. And then the middle's a bit slow, and then the end, they just ramp up the ridiculousness. Like, I'm never going to say this is good.
No one should ever
use
the word good in the same sentence.
If you're after the biology viewpoint on it, the one thing I'll give it, okay, yes, it's saying that sharks are bad, but it's saying that sharks falling from the sky is bad. So that doesn't actually exist, so I'm happy with that.
Well, I wanted to know if the phenomenon of tornadoes and the cone going down into the water near some sharks would actually bring up a spout of sharks that might be flung onto the beach where people might be and that might eat people.
I looked this up.
Okay.
It is possible.
Doesn't it generally happen with frogs, though?
Yeah, frogs and
are quite
fish
common.
Things. Has it happened with sharks in such vast quantities?
No, I don't think it has happened.
And with
but
such
it is
frequency.
Possible that it could happen one time.
They're not just like sharks that are thrown in a tornado. They do seem to have some other
abilities.
Choice, I guess. Like they are flying. It's not like they've just been slapped by a fish or something like that.
At the start,
they do have a direction.
So at the start, it starts in Washington DC, where the main character of the film, I presume he's the main guy in episodes 1 and 2. I've not seen him. I may never see them, but he's been commemorated for being in episodes 1 and 2. And there's a Sharknado above Washington DC, and that proceeds to kill everyone inside the White House. So these sharks are flying into the White House, into the walls, and then flying through the corridors, into the bunkers, in through the depths of the White House, and breaking through the bunker walls, and being sentient enough to be still wanting to eat people whilst they're outside. So that's outside of realms of...
I really don't think you need to think about...
I just want to...
how
set the tone.
Anything works.
I just want to point out that there's some proper filmic tropes in this.
Right.
Like, for example, so the thing called Chekhov's gun,
Yes.
you know that thing?
Yeah.
If there's a gun on the, I think that's from the theatre actually. If there's a gun on the stage, it will be used at some point.
Yeah,
Right?
if there's a gun in the first act.
So the main hero of the film is presented with a golden chainsaw at the beginning.
Yeah.
For his work with chainsaws in 1 and 2, where he's killed sharks with chainsaws. And you know, as soon as you see it, that is not a pretend chainsaw. It's going to be used in anger against sharks, and sure enough it is.
Within seconds as well.
Yeah.
There's okay, for the zoology side of it, the one thing that did please me was I was saying, oh, this is going to be stupid. Oh, actually, they've gone to the bother of having various different kinds of sharks. There's an level of accuracy. There's a frilled shark, which is like a fairly obscure, weird shark. And I was pleased was actually in this thing.
Okay.
Simon was in my living room as the First Lady of the United States in the film was surfing down the stairs in the White House on a portrait of one of the old presidents. And Simon was there going, there's a frilled shark. And I was like, never mind the frilled shark, this is insane.
Well, it had to be educational because it was also at that point your son walked into the room and we'd realised he'd been watching for the past 15 minutes.
Yeah, I had a slightly nervous moment when I realised that my son had been watching this film from behind the door for at least half an hour one point. And he talks about Sharknadoes a lot now. And I feel bad because it's not a good start to, zoology, physics or anything else for him, really.
It's probably good. It's one of the things that you do, but your son has learned from this, is also not to accept advertising in films.
Oh,
the product placement.
The product placement is unbelievable. You've never seen anything like it.
It was just like, because in James Bond, at least it's slightly subtle. There'll just be a Mercedes will just fly past and you know that's Mercedes. But here was like a Mountain Dew truck just stood there for half of the film, basically, at some point. It was just
And half the reason
crazy.
why the middle is actually overly long is because
It's just one long advert.
it's the park. Yeah, it's basically an advert for, is it Universal Studios?
Yes.
Yeah, there's an enormous, great half the film length advert for Universal Studios in it. There are enormous subway signs which people just stand in front of for ages for no reason. There's a part where the female lead kills a shark by shooting benefit mascara at it from a rocket launcher for no reason at all, and it's amazing.
Sharks don't even have eyelashes. I mean, what's the point?
I don't know how it killed it, really. I don't see what the ballistic capabilities of mascara is. It's weird.
What?
There's many things that we have found out problematic, but I loved it. That's the thing, is that in spite of all this, or actually not in spite of, because of all this,
There
it's
are
actually
also
good eventually.
Yeah.
there are lots of cameos in it.
There's,
So if you're a film fan and you hate it, you can just wait for more people you recognise to come up just to see how they deal with being in this film.
I mean, give us an example. There's some. Yeah, give us an example of your favourite or most notable
so
cameos.
within the first 2 minutes, you've seen
There's Jackie Collins.
Jackie Collins. Who else was in the opening bit?
I can't remember the opening.
There are other people I can't remember.
There's
Who's
the
the
opening bit
president?
where that was inside the White House. So,
There's the guy from Game of Thrones, the writer.
George R.R. Martin.
George R.R. Martin
Who's in there?
is killed by a shark.
Yeah.
As I imagine he asked to be in it to be killed by a shark. Jedward are in it.
Oh, are they? I don't remember that. I would have.
Yeah.
That would have made me.
They're on
There's an extra point for the scoring system just for that fact.
I thought so.
That's not worth a point.
Yes.
No, it is, because it's the compound stupidity. Like, that's the thing, is that if you get enough stupidity, it ends up being brilliant. And Jed would add a whole twin level of just stupidity on top of this. And all.
Yeah. They're on
Those kind of cameos.
they're on the shark roller coaster.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what is that man called? Who's the big chat show guy in America?
Jerry Springer.
Yeah, he's in it.
Oh, is he?
He gets eaten
I
by a
missed that.
shark.
I didn't notice him. No.
You know, there's a bit where where there's a massive
Where
shark that
someone's
people
eaten by
can
a shark.
pose with their head inside it.
Yeah,
and,
right.
And then that ends up being a real shark, and somebody gets eaten. That's Jerry Springer.
Jerry Springer,
Yeah.
it's because it's the Jaws shark. That's what they're having been on that ride.
Oh,
That's actually
right. There you go.
part of Universal Studios one.
Yeah, there were. I did check out the cameo list, and I think there are more apparent people to, I guess, viewers in the States. Are a lot more American-related cameos. There's a basketball star called Rick Fox, who's in there at the start. Penn and Teller were there.
Yes.
Yes, okay. That's
And
right.
of course, David Hasselhoff,
Yeah,
who
David
must be the
Hasselhoff.
biggest.
I don't know
star
if that's
in
a
it.
cameo. I think he is a star. I think that's
yeah.
the,
No, you're right. That's not a cameo.
Extended
He's-
cameo.
he's
Malcolm from the Middle. He was
Yeah.
there, and he gets killed by exploding or detonating the kind of bomb that's in his caravan.
Well, he does get killed by that, but at that point, he has no limbs.
No, that's true.
he would have died anyway. But he does get to detonate the bomb in the Beast truck thing with his nose, which I think is quite good. Because we were trying to work out how he was going to do.
The word good is never the right word, but it's still brilliant.
No, okay.
Like, I don't know how.
Helen does not look impressed by any of this.
You've
at
seen this,
all.
haven't you, as well? Yeah, I've seen it.
When you say seen it, I was present in the same room it was playing, but to be honest, my interest waned after about 40 seconds. You're telling me things I'm going...
you're not appreciating it for the right reasons.
Did that happen? I can't remember that, but then I didn't really get that far into it.
I imagine it's a good movie to drink with.
Like, you could make a drinking game with it.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you'd be hammered though. Every time someone gets killed by a shark,
Yeah.
that would be.
Or every cameo, actually, you're right. That's the thing. There's so much of everything. I think that's it. It's just the compound level, but
it does pass the Bechdel test.
Okay, we can give it that. But like,
this matters to some people.
Yes,
so I just wanted to point it out that it does.
But that's saying a very bad movie passes it. Like that's okay. That's
not the
that's
point
a standard all
of the
movies should be
Bechdel test.
hitting.
You can't now decide which films are worthy to pass the Bechdel test. The point of the Bechdel test is that films who pass it are better for passing
That
it.
is true.
And that's what I'm saying. That it has a.
But
not
were
only
there any
is it
female
used
sharks?
Sorry.
Were there any female sharks?
Any female named sharks talking to another female named shark?
That's a different test that you've made up.
I know, but I like the idea that there.
The shark
I love it that there
Bechdel
was
test.
actually.
Also, there is a lady with a prosthetic chainsaw, which links back to our podcast quite nicely.
Well, that's a big homage to the Evil Dead franchise. Like you can tell an awful lot of this comes from a love of those movies. So maybe Helen, maybe that's the thing. If you don't love some of those other, if you weren't traumatized at the right age.
Well, I love the Evil Dead, and I love Peter Jackson's earlier work.
So surely you can see this as a logical progression from that in a way.
No.
Did you enjoy the bit where David Hasselhoff goes, "Sharks in space"? If you didn't, you're not alive.
Can't remember that bit. I mean, I don't really have any particular interest in David Hasselhoff in general. So he's I wouldn't.
His appearance doesn't matter to you. I have this theory that David Hasselhoff wasn't actually in the film with anyone else.
Oh, that's fascinating. I read something that said that, and I wonder
really?
whether that's true. Yeah, that maybe he did the whole thing
By himself.
with
Skype.
green screen. Yeah, Skype green screen,
So
which is really interesting. If that's true.
there were some scenes where they were walking side by side, for example, and it looked like it was shot on a different day, and the voiceover sounded different and wrong. And they're in the spaceship together. You never actually saw them together, and there was always long shots when people were supposed to be in the same shot with David Hasselhoff. So I think generally that he wasn't. He just kind of literally phoned it in, just sat at home.
I think it's very possible it was all done without his permission. Even it was just somebody standing there with a camera filming.
Maybe he had a completely different script, which
Would explain
was for
why.
a good film, but he had all the same lines, but everything else was different in the script he got given, so that it really sounded like a decent film.
Nah, I think.
And then they just patched in all his bits into this absolute sack of shite.
But maybe I think there's a nostalgia factor. The Hoff goes for that. Like, do you know of Kung Fury?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
that's on Netflix.
It was a Kickstarter film.
Yeah,
And the Hoff's in that. Like, he's the main star. He even wrote the theme tune and stuff. So I think it fits. Like, I think this is a very David
He's like
Hasselhoff
George
vehicle.
Clooney, maybe, who I think has more of a sense of humour than perhaps you might originally realise.
He's not very like George Clooney, is he?
No, but
Other than
George
they're both
Clooney has more of a
sex
sense
gods.
of humour than you think he's going to.
George Clooney, come on, he's in
Discuss.
Coen Brothers, an amazing sense of humour. He's an incredible comic actor.
Okay,
That's
well,
the
maybe I saw his films in the wrong order, but I saw some Coen Brothers once and I was suddenly like, oh, this guy has some self-awareness.
Oh,
It's fine.
he's like one of the Coen's favourite people.
Yes,
Like, they use him
yeah.
all the time.
No, okay, well, I didn't realise that.
Because
I've only
you know him
just
only
recently...
from Hot Doctor days. Is that it?
But he was very funny in that role as well. He was the Joker on ER. So he's
Yeah.
always, and he used to play lots of practical jokes on the cast and crew on ER as well. He was quite
There you go.
the Joker on screen and off
so
screen.
this po-faced nature has been foisted upon him by
I think it was
you,
more
Rachel.
No,
the roles he got offered.
I think I had that in my head just wrong. I just decided because
It's
he was
because he's
just-
too handsome. You didn't
It's
think he had
because
to
lots of
develop a sense
people
of humour.
fancy him.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, he must take himself very seriously. But actually not.
He's,
He's
I mean,
even sexier than you thought because he's got a sense of humour as well.
Don't really care, but okay.
I do. Jeez, he's amazing. I'm sticking up for George Clooney. I think
He's
the man's
great,
amazing.
but I don't fancy him. That's all I'm saying.
But the Hoff,
You are-
however,
But the Hoff, you
Yeah,
fancy,
now the Hoff,
in
on
the
the
red
other hand,
shorts from Baywatch. Is it red shorts or is it
It's
the
spacesuit Sharknado. Sharks in space.
because you're looking at it, you're thinking that guy ended the Cold War and is now saving the planet from sharks.
Do you think he can do
Yeah.
anything about Trump?
I don't.
Well, if,
Actually, I
if
wouldn't
anyone
put it past
can,
him, yeah.
the Hoff can.
Yeah, and is. I think probably they get their hair for the chest and the head in the same place. Actually, it's very possible.
Yeah.
They both have strategic Merkums. That's effectively it.
There's another cameo in Bo Derek. I'm just going to sidestep.
What's Bo Derek?
Bo Derek is the 80s female lady with blonde hair that was in the film 10 with, what's he called?
No, I'm lost here. The film
Peter.
10.
Peter, I can't remember what his name is.
Bit more information.
So with the film with Dudley Moore called 10.
Oh, Peter Cook.
Yeah, Peter Cook and Dudley Moore.
No, I don't know this one.
So there's a film called 10, which is like a classic lusting after film because obviously Dudley Moore's a short guy. Bo Derek. So Bo Derek played the main character's mother-in-law,
Okay, yes.
and her daughter was Tara Reid, who was in American Pie,
Right.
who's the one that gave birth inside the shark in space.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's Tara Reid. So her mum's Bo Derek. Who was-
Really?
Who was famous in the 80s. Yeah. So do you remember Bo Derek now? Do you know who she is?
I know the name.
Yeah.
No, I've never heard of this at all.
I've heard of the name, but I thought it was a guy.
I think you're thinking Bo Jackson. He's an American.
I don't know what I'm
football- yeah.
thinking.
Or Derek.
Or just Derek.
I just in my head it was one of the. You know, like there are some references that you know are kind of big people, but they were before your time, so you don't remember. Like Rusty Lee. No idea.
How old are you? Sorry.
35.
I'm 36, and Rusty Lee wasn't she the cooking sensation in the mornings?
Who's Rusty Lee?
Yes, but
I'm
I
lost.
only know about. Yeah, you see, there we are. I only know about Rusty Lee because she turned up at a radio station I used to work for. Everyone was really excited, and I was like, I really don't know who this is. So
But
now I do, but
Cause my colleague Brian, hi Brian, if you're listening, he's from Ireland, as yourself.
Yeah.
And there's some weird, cause even though we're the kind of same age, it's a weird kind of subsect of people he has just simply
You mean you're
no
calling us
idea.
backwards? Yes.
Yes.
Because it's still the
No.
1980s. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but no. But but I think you just have literally
No,
have
I'll
you
stick
would
up
have got
for it,
I think Rusty Lee is the kind of TV AM ITV kind of stuff. So you probably just generally would not have seen.
No, as well as that, when I was growing up, sure, it was the Virgin Mary on RTV for about 7 hours each day. That's actually kind of true.
you
Well,
poor
really?
bastard.
Yeah. No, so for RTE, you had a couple of hours of that. So do you remember when you guys had the girl and her freaky clown on the
yeah.
chalkboard? We had the Virgin, Our
Right.
Lady, you know?
Oh right, okay. Oh yeah, shit, yeah.
That's actually, yeah, but as well as that, look, the thing is, like, I love where I'm from, and actually, if we missed out on that, we've made some things, because we still treat escalators like they're a ride in my area, and I'm okay with that. I think it's brilliant.
Should we head back to Sharknado 3 for a bit?
Yeah, sorry.
Helen,
I'm
Helen's got-
I'm
really
rather
bad
enjoying
because
more
there is a lot of rage coming from
Irish
that.
nostalgia, really.
Come on, look,
Stick with
explain,
that.
explain to us why this is okay, because we know it's bad. That's the reason why this is hard for you to disagree, because we all know it's awful.
In a sense, we agree
Nobody's
with
sticking
you.
up with it.
yeah.
Yeah. So what did we get from it that you didn't?
I honestly, I have no idea. I mean, there's films like, for example, I'm just thinking of some things like 21, 22 Jump Street, which are quite ridiculous and do not take themselves seriously in any way. And they're kind of fun and they're quite far-fetched and they're really enjoyable and they're kind of well made. Whereas there's just really nothing other than they kind of made the first one and it kind of picked up a little bit of interest because I think it's made by the Sci-Fi Channel. Is that correct?
Yeah.
I think they made it and they kind of franchised it and basically no one watches the Sci-Fi Channel. And with the first one, they kind of hit across this bizarre idea. I think it was probably around the same time as like Snakes on a Plane and kind of tapped into that thing. But the fact that they've gone then and made more and more, which I can only assume the first and the second are exactly the same and they haven't really developed the idea. So for example, like the Final Destination films, I'm a massive fan of. They're bonkers, they're stupid. It's basically the same story each time, but the special effects in it are pretty good and the ways people die in each film become more and more inventive and they kind of play around with the idea of how death chases people. I like that kind of thing and they are completely ridiculous and stupid.
So you
But-
liked the up the levels and taking sharks into space was not upping the levels enough for you?
No. I mean,
Maybe it went too far.
yeah, I think so. I mean,
It does kind of go straight into ridiculous. There's no build up at all.
Yeah.
and you know, why do the sharks want to eat everyone? I mean,
I'm not sure they do really.
but they.
This is probably your main bugbear, Simon.
Well,
So
yeah,
that-
sharks don't want to eat everyone. Like that's a
But why are they eating everyone?
because that's the Hollywood shark. I think that's, and also these are not normal sharks. Like maybe
The flying
They've
sharks.
been
yeah.
they've been put in a washing machine essentially. So
maybe
they're
just
pretty
cranky.
annoyed.
Yeah,
They're pretty annoyed. I'd be
And clean.
annoyed.
And you know, I mean, it's got Tara Reid in it, which is a rule I generally try to avoid anything she's been in.
What else is she in?
American Pie.
American Pie.
She is not a
See,
good
again,
actor.
Probably
Another-
some awful sex tapes as well. Probably.
Yeah, that'll get us off the hook on that one. Any legal issues there? Probably.
I mean, no. I mean, we've got some images up looking at it, and
Okay. Can we describe one of these? Because one of them has Abraham Lincoln sitting with a shark lying in a rather loose style in its knee in his lap.
you know, I do like a good shark film. I quite like Deep Blue Sea. That's a pretty good shark film.
Again, never seen it, and probably
Yeah.
I'd probably object to Deep Blue Sea.
It's got some pretty good shark deaths in that. That's pretty good. It's quite ridiculous, but I suppose it takes itself quite seriously. That one, doesn't it?
I can't remember
Is
seeing
it
it.
Samuel L. Jackson
Yeah,
in
it
it?
does.
Yeah.
He gets massacred at some point.
Shh, spoiler. Don't spoil that one because it's actually quite good.
I've just remembered something else that's rubbish about this film. Is that there's some proper bits of exposition fairy going on where I haven't seen Sharknado 2, but evidently the girl in this
Nova, yeah.
who is like a kind of badass ninja style, you know, she's
Yeah.
really amazing. She kills sharks, blah blah. Evidently, in the earlier films, she wasn't like that. Because there are loads of bits where Finn keeps saying to her, but what about your hair? And I mean, it could be a different actress, I don't know. But what about your... And when did you learn to fly a fighter jet? And I just love that. It's like this... And then she goes... She basically says, well, in between back then and now, obviously, because I couldn't fly a fighter jet then, and now I can. You're like, that explains it perfectly. I don't know why we were worried about that point. Let's move on.
They have a wonderful bit straight after that where they crash the ship, and just in the water of Universal Studios they emerge both svelte and, oh dear, all their clothes fell off in the crash. You know, it's
We've
just the
got a
sort of most
picture of that
blatant.
down there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
with their ripped bodies as they come rippling out of the water, and doing a full-on L'Oreal sort of hair flick.
Yeah, so there's that, which is a Hollywood thing.
Yeah,
And then there's a bit where Finn's daughter falls in love with this boy, and then... So as soon as she kisses him, you know he's going to die.
yes, following
'Cause
the kind of
that's another-
Scream rules.
That's another the Scream rules, yeah. And sure enough, he gets hit by a shark. You're right. The actual way that people die is not interesting in this. They just all get hit by a shark, which is a bit poor. But then it is a poor film. I'm not trying to say it's a good film at all.
I don't know, I just think the hour and a half I spent watching it, I could have been watching
Could have
something
got
good.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, or, you know, I could have done
No,
my
I agree.
tax return.
Actually,
I could have
I
boiled
have
some
been
potatoes.
similarly furious watching films that I don't like when I don't like them, because I think, well, this is now a waste of my time.
But this is not, because like some bad movies, I hate Dodgeball, for instance. Like
Right.
we've had this.
Oh, come
rant.
on.
No, because I see that as a damaging movie in many ways, because every female in it, every woman in it, is only there for the appraisal of the guys, and at the very end, like giving one a bit away, one of the women, the guy doesn't manage to get off of her, and he says, "Oh well, you see, it's
Ben
because
Stiller.
I'm a lesbian," and they go, "Oh." And
All
then
right.
she then kisses the guy, and you can join in. So as if her sexuality is only existing for the pleasure of that guy, and it offends me as a guy because this is what they take.
theme of a lot of those sort of films.
So no, this is the point, I suppose, is that is a ridiculous movie. Like Dodgeball is a bad movie because it's an insidious, nasty movie. Ultimately, it hides all its nasty Hollywood stuff underneath the veneer of this is just a stupid movie. Whereas this was actually just a stupid movie. Like it's got a cameo by Jedward, and that's not the worst bit.
Yeah.
That's how stupid this is.
And it passed the Bechdel test.
And it
It's
passed the
quite-
Bechdel
it's quite
test.
feminist, actually.
So that's it.
And
This
it
is stupid. That's
satisfies
fine.
and it satisfies your shark knowledge.
Well, yeah, well,
has
the
a
word
variety of
satisfy is a bit strong. It was just that, wow, they've got a frill shark. There's a great... Yeah, they had a bit of taxonomic variety I was
Yeah.
not expecting.
Would the variety of sharks existed in the same Sharknado?
No, again, if you're expecting this to be like, actually, I have to admit, I kept thinking, oh, it would be really kind of nice if there was just suddenly a whale shark or a basking shark, because they're vegetarians more or less, and only eat plankton, and they just didn't bother, as if they were saved. Somebody escaped because it's just the wrong kind of shark. And there's a friendly one.
Yeah, or maybe like one of the sharks decided that it was going to be a good guy and help them in some way. That might have made it a bit more interesting.
Yeah. That might be giving a bit more sentience again to this idea of these are just ridiculous flying killing machines.
Why would they, how could they fly outside? I get I'm with the Sharknado bit, I'm with them flying around and being flipped out and landing on people and being like hungry when they land on the floor, if they've survived that kind of impact. It's just the actually being able to navigate through the White House and
maybe they had a map.
Find out, yeah. They have Google.
Are you saying there's a plot hole in Sharknado 3?
There's a big plot hole.
Do you want us to fill it? Like,
yes,
we can make up nonsense for you if you like.
So, yeah, please.
What if there's enough sharks that effectively sharks are following all paths? So there's so many sharks in the Sharknado that eventually one will find its way to the right room in the right house.
That's like an entropy
That
type.
is deep, Simon.
Yeah. Yeah, I can make this nonsense up like anyone.
I would just like to say that it's more fun watching Simon watching Sharknado 3 than it is watching Sharknado 3.
I was shocked because I was not expecting this to be like. I'm not saying it's good, but I still loved it. I enjoyed not every second. The middle shouldn't exist, but the start where you're hit in the face by the subway ad, by its stupidity, by its little homage to, by its awful acting, by the cameos, by everything. Just the. Do you remember the Naked Gun films?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where there's a wonderful cumulative effect of this. There's so many jokes per second that if you weren't laughing at one, you were laughing at the previous one. Okay, none of these jokes are good, but the quantity, again, is up at that level. It carries you through. It's got momentum.
Yeah.
The middle doesn't, and then the end, it turns the stupidity up to 11.
Well, and when you know that the shark on the beach is about to have a baby come out of it,
yeah.
right, and you're watching it with someone who hasn't seen that bit yet, and you just turn in your seat and get more popcorn and just be like, this is going to be good. I'll just watch Simon react to this bit now. And I took a picture of him at that moment.
Oh, you're going to have to share
Yeah,
it
we're
with
going to have
us.
to see that.
Okay, I'll have to find it. It'll take me a while to find it.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah,
I did actually
I've got it.
shout yes.
I think what's happening is because
I think I'd
we all
prefer
know-
to watch you do just have watched your reaction.
Maybe
to this
watching
film,
me
Rob.
watching Simon
Yeah.
watching the film
This
would
is
have been
getting
more
very
entertaining.
It can't happen because, yes, I'm not going to watch it again. That's a very different
well, this is going to affect
question.
our repeat viewing score.
Yeah.
I think what I'm gathering here is that we've all kind of taken different things from it, and myself, Rachel, and Simon. Obviously, we know it's ridiculous, but we're quite happy just going along with it, going, "Oh, for goodness' sake! Okay, what's next? Oh, for goodness' sake! Okay, what's next? Oh, for fuck's sake! Yeah,
So
okay."
You're saying that you enjoyed it because of just quiet British disapproval.
I was just, yeah, there was that kind of. Oh, I mean, my wife came at one point. She looked at me, and I looked back at her, and there's some kind of shark flailing on the. I think it's quite early on inside the White House. There was nothing particularly stupid that had really happened that much in that scene that she's watching, and she just went, "Oh, for goodness' sake!" and then walked out. And that's. But what's happened with Helen is that within that first kind of minute, you've just kind of switched off.
Maybe
Yeah.
this
I
is
think Helen probably hates me because she must have been thinking I could be boiling potatoes right now. And I'm having to watch
I
this
wondered what
nonsense.
I'd done to offend you.
Did you watch this
previously.
alone?
Yeah.
I see, that might be it, actually, because this is it's not a movie that you're not going to not talk through. Like, actually, I think this is one that's not good in the cinema because you should not be sitting there giving it respect.
Yeah, but
You should
no
be
one
sitting
wanted
there
to watch it with me.
Good answer.
I
I'll
don't know
watch it
if
with you.
I don't know if that's your fault or Sharknado's. If that's the case.
Should have sold it better. Guys, going to watch Sharknado 3. What do you reckon? Yeah. But you're like, oh god, I'm going to watch this film with sharks in a fucking tornado. Do you want to watch it?
There's
No.
Yeah, that's fair. I can. You're perfectly correct. Anybody who says this is bad is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going to. I'm not going to give it high scores, but
Well, I still
I don't
really
know though,
loved
because
it.
it's difficult to give something a score when you're trying to rate it for kind of, different. I would rate this in a different way to every other film I've ever seen.
oh wow.
Would you say, because I did get the feeling that they were enjoying it. Like that's actually. One
Yeah,
of the
they're
few
definitely
takeaways I got
enjoying
from this.
themselves as they make it.
I mean, it's a good thing, isn't it? It's like the guys from when Anchorman. The guys in Anchorman, they can tell they're enjoying hanging around with each other, getting together.
A friend told me that there's because a lot of that's improvised, there's an entire second movie made from the offcuts.
So Anchorman 2's got two films.
Having seen Anchorman 2, I don't really think we need to see what might have happened.
Yeah, again,
outside the
I'm
bits
not
they've
as
chosen.
interested in that, like, because that's the kind of one where I think, again, a wee bit of the sort of Hollywood nastiness can creep in, because again, they do. There's generally homophobic and generally sexist things within those.
There is, yeah.
Whereas there's none of that in this, because it probably wasn't clever enough to think of anything nasty to put in. Like whatever reason, this I think has got a certain purity of stupidity. This isn't innocence because it is so stupid.
This is a film that a 13-year-old boy would have as his favourite film, I think. I think that it would definitely...
And invite all his mates around and watch with them.
And they might even sneak a beer between them. 6 of them.
Oh, there is a bit where David Hasselhoff manually switches on one of the Star Wars laser satellites. That bit's quite good as well.
Yeah, wasn't that to destroy the wall of sharks?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, do you want to talk about anything else before we go into the scoring system, guys? Is there any highlights you want to pick up? Or lowlights?
Post-traumatic shark disorder.
Oh, yeah.
Being dropped in. That was a interesting
As if that's
idea.
a thing. I think I've mentioned...
Everything goes on the top of your head.
There's a lot of
a lot of notes being looked through. This is the most extensive note-taking I've ever seen.
We take this very seriously. When we're invited on a podcast, we prepare.
Thank you.
They weren't the best notes.
There was a lot of non-sequitorial, that's not a word either, dialogue in it.
Example?
You know when in films quite a lot, like for example in the 24 franchise, nobody ever answers the phone with hello, yep, no speaking, yeah, I'm fine. What, all the things that you actually do when you're on the phone is just like Jack Bauer, sure, ciao, that's it. None of the... This is like... There's a lot of this dialogue where one of them's having one conversation, the other one's having a different conversation, and they both carry on having their conversation without referencing anything the other one said. But like too much, like a lot too much, really doesn't work.
Yeah, whenever we're talking about writing, it is basically like a dictionary has gone through a liquidizer. It's not well written either. Like that, there's not
You're
a
right,
single
there's nothing
thing
to redeem this film at all, really. And also, I've written down here that it doesn't pass the Bechdel test, because when the women are having the conversation earlier in the film, which I wrote down passes the Bechdel test, they're talking about baby names. The baby ends up being a boy. Oh. So therefore, they were talking about a man.
Oh, so the point's been taken away now.
So then they don't even... You see, I think we need to remove that.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking about it. Hold on. I'm not sure it does pass the Bechdel test, because at the start of the film, when he's there saving America, saving the capital city, Tara Reid and her mum, Bo Derek, I'm sure they were talking... I'm sure her mum was berating him, saying he's a really bad husband. He's a bad father.
Yeah.
So doesn't that fail the Bechdel test?
I think we thought there was something which slipped through. But again, a lot of the dialogue is so bad that might be they were trying to talk about that, and just by chance they ended up talking
Does
about
the Bechdel test, maybe we'll have to link to this on Wikipedia to exactly explain what it is, but does it just have to be one conversation, or does the whole film?
at least one, which is why it's so disappointing that so few films pass it. Like, it's not got high criteria, and yet most of the films fail miserably.
So there was one conversation between two named females that doesn't talk about a man. Okay. So
it isn't about a man.
So it does pass it. So
but then it turns out that it is about a man, because they're talking about baby names, and the baby ends up being a man.
They may talk about actually killing sharks. I think that might come up. There might be some direct action.
In which case, we're okay again.
Well,
unless again it's a male shark. That was why that question mattered. Look, we can't justify it on any level, so we should give up on trying that.
I can't find my photo of you reacting to the baby being born out of the shark, which is a shame.
We'll find it. We'll post it up on the blog post that goes alongside this.
Yeah, agreed.
Let's go to the scoring, guys. So we have Rachel first, and the first score on the door. All of these are out of 5.
Right.
And the first is recommendability score.
10.
Whoa, shit.
It's out of 5, but of the enthusiasm.
Okay.
Helen doesn't want it to skew the scoring system. You want this to be a low one, I can sense.
I don't want it. I don't want it to be anything.
Well, I would
than what
recommend
it is.
it wholeheartedly to anybody, so I'm going to have to give it 5. There's nobody I wouldn't recommend it to apart from Helen, but she's already seen it. It's too late for me not to recommend it to her.
I would give it a 3, because yes, I will tell everybody I like it, but I will give them the caveats of it's stupid. Like I would give it a bad review and tell them to watch it. I'd be honest, I guess.
So would I. And I would recommend it to a factor of 5 out of 5. I would say it's terrible. You have to see it.
But would you not say there's not other
Simon,
terrible
this is not
films
your
are-
score.
Okay,
this
fine,
is my
fine.
score. My recommendation
Yeah, you-
out of 5 is 10, and I have rounded that down to 5 due to the restrictive scoring rules going on here.
And if you could go full Spinal Tap and up to 11, you would. I
Yeah.
guess. Repeat reviewing, is that the next one?
No, so
Oh, you guys have to vote. Yeah.
This is going to be no surprise, is it? This is a big fat 0. I'm just thinking in my head of my friends, and
the fact that no one wanted to
I
watch it with you.
don't
to start.
think any of them would be particularly happy if I said, you should definitely watch this.
This is
I mean,
shark-flavoured Marmite.
I guess the only person would probably be you, and you've
Me?
already seen it, and you've kind of half recommended it to each other because we had to. So
I'm not sure you get
I
any
think-
points of recommendability when you have to watch it for your podcast.
I think the people there's people in our film quiz team, I'm sure there would be a few that will watch it and take it for what it is. And I've got some friends from school and stuff like that, and university and stuff. I think they'd watch it, laugh at it, and say thank you, but no thanks again. So I'm going to give it a 2 because there's not that many of those people. But yeah, it's a 2 for me. I'm not going full 0. Repeat viewing score. How often, if ever, are you going to watch this film again? Out of 5. So,
You've watched it twice?
Well,
actually,
I-
I've watched it
accidentally.
twice.
Wow.
I mean, I've watched it 2 times too many already, to be
Yeah.
honest. If I had an opportunity to watch it with somebody who I think would appreciate it and watch them watching it, I would watch it again.
Really?
Yeah.
So, what does that equate to on your score out of 5, which you want to make out of 10?
3.
Helen,
Yeah, no-
I could just see Helen exasperated.
Oh no, I'm
And
not.
the-
I find it really interested that you have obviously seen it twice and you would watch it again.
Well, and also,
Would
if you
you
knew
rather
how many
watch it
films
again?
I've seen, you'd be even more surprised, because I have not seen very many films. So to spend a film watching opportunity watching Sharknado for a third time. But that's my commitment to comedy.
Would you rather watch Sharknado 3 again or Sharknado 2?
I don't want to watch any other of the Sharknado films.
Because this gives you all you need.
Yeah.
I think it's a fair point. I've got no desire to watch any of the other ones. Simon, repeat viewing score.
Now there, I'd go for a 0, because all the things which were bad enough to make me love it, now that I know about them, would just be bad. It was the surprise factor of its badness, I guess. This snuck up on me. Yeah.
Did it?
It's stealth awful. It's like
Yep.
Trump. You don't think it's going to happen, and then it does.
But
Oh,
you
satire.
kind of relish in the, like you said, you relish in the purity of its badness.
Yeah, or the innocence, I think.
Innocence of the badness. Helen,
It's another fat 0. No, never. I wouldn't. No.
I'm not going to watch it again. No, I'm not going to watch. I can't. I just
And
can't.
I don't think. You see, again, I don't think I'd watch 1 and 2. Maybe if like it was one of those, because I wouldn't watch it again. But like if friends were coming around to watch a bad movie, I might try to. But I got a feeling that there's no point because it's already hit max.
Yeah,
There's nowhere to go.
I think with maybe the first couple of ones, they kind of took everything from 1 and 2 and put it in together into 3. I guess maybe that's what's happened, and presumably the special effects have maybe got better.
Yeah.
Oh no, they have.
No,
We didn't mention
Well,
how
they
bad the
kind of
special
got
effects
worse.
were. Yeah.
the special effects were horrific. But
Yeah.
I think in the first 2 films, they would have been worse because I think the budget would just been less.
Can you just say horrific again?
Horrific.
The CGI looks like it was done on a Casio
It was-
wristwatch kind
it
of thing.
was-
It's that bad.
On the World Time Watch.
Yeah, jeez.
It was. There was some poor effects. Small screen score. So, how much would you have wished to have seen this in the cinema? Is this good for a Netflix TV watching type thing?
Okay.
I actually watched it on a phone during a night shift.
Oh
To
shit!
start with. This might be why I enjoyed it so much, because I was quite sleep deprived and quite bored. So I would say it works really well on the small screen, but I would love to have seen it in a
No,
cinema
you
as well.
don't. That would have made the special effects even worse.
Yeah, I'm all for. I would give this a 5 out of 5 for the small screen because again, this is a film which should be paused and which should be talked over, and you can get as much popcorn, and you can leave and have a wee, and
put
come
your son
back
back
and
to
nothing's
bed.
different. You can put your son back to bed. Yeah.
So,
And I said, don't pause it, I'll be back. Don't worry about it. Don't pause the passage of time for me.
what do you give us? Simon's giving it a 5. What about yourself, Rachel?
Did you just give it 5?
Yeah, for
small screen
for small
score.
screen, yeah.
I'm not sure I entirely understand small screen score.
You wouldn't see it in the cinema. That's the point here, I guess.
I would see it in the cinema, so 2.5.
Okay.
You think it'd be benefit
I'd
by
be
being
quite
bigger?
happy watching it either. You know.
No, you see, that's like if I
So
knew
2.5.
I see, but I couldn't watch in the cinema because if I knew I had to watch it, if I knew that the doors are locked and I'm being rude and I'm blocking somebody's view by getting up, and I'm surrounded by other people who I don't know, so I don't know that they don't know how bad it is. Like, imagine being in a cinema with people who actually liked it.
This is about your claustrophobia, not about Sharknado 3.
Yeah, fair.
Or if you paid £12 to see it.
Yeah.
That's a good point. All right, 2.
No, but that means so you would prefer to watch it in the cinema.
No.
No.
2.
Yeah, okay, all right, 3. Sorry, I'm revising it in the wrong direction.
Helen.
I mean, this is the only area that I can give it some points, that it was made for TV. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to give it a 3 because, I mean, the smaller the better. I think, the smaller the better probably makes it better.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it's getting.
It's got a sort of appeal that only comes with it being 3 a.m. when you start watching it, I think.
I think it's a 4 for me. Yeah. I've never watched this in the cinema. It needs better special effects to make it a cinema-worthy film.
Yeah, that's true.
It needs a lot more than special effects.
Look bad already. It's probably you
And
probably
you
don't
wouldn't want to see a Subway advert that big.
No, quite.
How much do you
Actually,
reckon? How much do you reckon Subway paid to
That's a really interesting question.
I reckon they
Literally
paid in
dollars.
sandwiches.
Yeah, I think they
Like, I think
just
fed
paid in
everyone.
food?
Yeah.
they got a free meatball
No,
marinara.
there are millions of dollars
Oh,
in
not
this.
free meatball marinara every single day.
No, maybe they did the catering. Actually, I bet you it is something
They'd have
like
sub
that.
of the day, though. They'd have
Yeah,
a different
true.
one every day, and everyone would have to have that one.
They did the catering. Benefit Mascara did the mascara.
Yes.
And they all went to Universal Studios for the wrap party.
And their mate did the
It was all
CGI.
done on sort of contra deals.
Engagement score. How much did you feel
Well,
engaged? We watching.
I can't give it 5 because Helen hated it. Like,
You can give
really.
it- You can give it what you want. These
But
scores
if the thing is, if you're sat there and you're not on the screen fully engaged, you paused it or you've had a break, then
yeah, I can't even
you
give it
can't give it
engagement
5
for me.
with that.
Yeah,
I'd
well,
give
it's just
it
for you.
5 for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, well, I enjoyed not engaging with it that much, so 2.5.
Simon.
I'd give it a 3 because I loved the start, I loved the end, the middle. Why bother?
Why bother?
0.
Yeah.
Actually, that's the good thing is that you could take out the middle
Yeah.
or just fast forward it, and it would still be great.
If you want to pick, do you remember sort of exactly? So if someone does kind of want to see it but doesn't really want to see like the really really bad bits, so sort of how far into the first bit should they watch?
Until the titles start to roll.
And
So
then
The titles are quite
The
good.
titles were good. Yeah.
So this should be a 20-minute long film, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then kind of fast forward it till about 20 minutes towards the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
as
would be
soon
ideal.
as soon as David Hasselhoff enters, and you go, wait a minute.
Oh, and he's
and you feel
talking
the
to Penn and
presence.
Teller in the first scene he's in as well. So basically start there.
Yeah. And you can guess what happened in between.
Oh,
Make it up
and there's a
even.
brilliant bit where Tara Reid gets into a spacesuit in a spaceship, which she's never... I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it was her size. I don't know how you can just be on a spaceship.
Oh,
But
these spacesuits fascinate me as well. Talking about the accuracy, scientific-wise, I know you're not an astrologist. What kind of, space...
Astrologist. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but-
know the star sign of all the all the people who are
I know you're not a
on board.
space scientist.
I think
A
the
rocket
official
scientist.
term is spaceonaut.
Space or I know you're not a space naut.
Well, bear in
but
mind that they looked like they were onesies that had been bought from
This
Primark.
is what
They're
I mean.
probably not actually.
They're from
down
a
the road,
costume
down the
shop.
road in Camden is one of the most popular fancy dress shops in London, which means it's probably one of the most popular fancy dress shops in the UK.
Yeah, fair.
And they will have better spacesuits than the
Yes.
ones that we had on Sharknado.
Yeah, you could make your own. Like, get
Better.
yourself a bin bag and
Some silver
some
tape.
crayons and silver. Yeah,
Yeah,
silver
masking
tape.
tape. Masking tape.
Masking tape.
Not
You're
masking
pushing
tape,
out
what's
the
one?
boat.
Electrical tape.
Electrical tape.
Duct tape.
Duct tape, that's the one that Matt Damon had in...
Yeah.
It's ambitious, though, when you've got a special effects budget of very little to take a film into space.
Oh, it's daft.
I mean, they didn't need to do that. They could have not done that, but they did it.
Red Dwarf managed that. That's the thing you have to remember, is that you can
that's
make models, and this chose not to. That's the thing. But having said that, like, big budgets are spent, and the second Matrix looks so shoddy now, the CGI.
Horrific.
And this looks worse than that. So...
And you saw that in the big screen, I bet.
Don't think I did.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I did. I've not seen it since, though.
No interest.
No.
Zero repeat viewing score. Okay, so engagement score. Yeah, my mind was wandering. I'm surprised I remember how many people were in the film, what people were in the film. So we get an overall score of 2.1, guys. This is pretty.
I mean,
higher than I thought it was
a
gonna be.
2-star rating. You know, when you're rating it, when the credits come up, you fill in the little stars. I mean, I think 2 stars. You know, fairly accurate for.
Well, but this is the thing. Is that this is the reason why this is not fair.
It's a 1-star movie, isn't it?
Yeah, but it is it's Shark Marmite. That's what this really is, because it can be 1 star and great. So you need some other system. There has to be some way of communicating that some bad things are worth it.
Surely that was this whole discussion.
Yeah, I guess.
But there are other films on Netflix which are also 2 stars, which are
There are
trying to be good.
Yeah.
So to give it 2 stars when it's not trying to be good, and to give them 2 stars when they are trying to be
But
good.
within these two
Those star systems do not tell you anything.
You
That's
need to
why
treat
we need
this like a
podcasts.
4-year-old. You know the way that you've got. You know, we've got. So, like, I've worked in schools. You know, we get some kids who are just pleased they showed up that day. They tried their best. They're not going to do great. I'm sure I've got a child like that in many ways. I love him to pieces, and he's mine, and therefore I think this is the same. You know.
They're trying the hardest, and that's all you can ask for them.
Yes, they did very well that day. You know, they've behaved. That's kind of.
That is so patronising as a review of this film. It's better than that.
Yeah, well, maybe, but look, again, how do we say
You're
this is brilliant
assuming that
without
it's
saying
taking
good?
itself seriously, which it ain't.
Well, maybe it
Jedward
should
would not
have.
be in this film if it was taking itself. It's not taking itself seriously. We're not taking it seriously. David Hasselhoff may have been lied to.
Maybe.
David Hasselhoff was being blackmailed to get in this film. Guys, I think...
Maybe he was just in it for the free Subway.
Free Subway, why not? I think we should wrap up, guys. Please give us an outro as to who you are and where we can find you. And we'll post everything in the notes.
Okay, so, well, Simon and I can be found on the Level Up Human... Well, actually, I can't be found on the Level Up Human podcast directly. But anyway, our podcast is Level Up Human. You can find that at leveluphuman.com or at Level Up Human on Twitter.
We're on SoundCloud and iTunes and all user places.
And Mixcloud.
Subscribe.
Yeah.
Also, though, Rachel Giggs is a very, very good comedian, so look out for her.
I'm at Rachel Wheely.
On
And
Twitter.
I'm at Simon D. Watt. I do sciencey, theatre-y, comedy-y, TV-y things. Actually, that's the best way of putting it. Yeah. I have too many jobs.
Nice one.
Awesome. Thank you very much, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the roller coaster ride, literally, in some places in the film. It features a roller coaster. That was Sharknado 3, and welcoming the superb and lovely Rachel and Simon from Level Up Human. The podcast, go and check them out. It's a really cool comedy podcast talking about how the next stages of human evolution could be. As always, guys, if you're looking for podcasting help or online content or anything super cool like that, go and visit GL Productions. They help us out with our podcast and all the editing. Mighty People are online on SoundCloud. You can hear all their tunes playing now and at the top end of the podcast. If you do want to interact with us, chat with us, comment, abuse, banter, anything, join us on Twitter at FlixWatcherPod. Our website is flixwatcher.tv. Please subscribe to us on iTunes, review us on iTunes, and share with your friends on iTunes. We'd love you forever.